Kids these days, you know? So this person wonders why she can't find a job, and it has nothing to do with being a teenager. So I worked at SeaWorld, right? And I worked there for a very, very long time. I did catering at SeaWorld. I worked the games and I worked at the stadiums. And I was working around 16, 17-year-old kids. But you want to know what separated them from this individual? They looked normal. They didn't have the bull rings through their noses. They didn't have the gauges. They didn't have these trimmed up, thinned out eyebrows. They didn't have whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. They looked normal. See, when you come in like this, you're presenting yourself in a certain way. And people see this and they think of a certain personality that goes along with it. And they don't want to deal with it. But also, I already hear you saying, but John, have you looked at yourself lately? Yeah. Now, I work at Subway. Do you think they would have hired me if I wasn't? Wow. Here, check this out. It's really complicated. Wow. Real fucking hard. And then you take the hat, and then for me, I take it and I slide it through. So that way it's draped over the back. Wow. Really fucking complicated. So you can sit there and say, oh, have you seen yourself? Clearly they don't care because I go in, I look presentable. I don't have fucking tattoos showing. I don't have piercings in my face. So that's the whole have you seen yourself? That's not the gotcha moment you think it is. But let's see what this individual, this young person, I don't want to assume any genders here. Let's see what they have to say.
I swear to God, the only way to get a job as a teenager is to know somebody. Because the only job I'm actually getting an interview for, my friend works at. And the only reason she works there is because her mom works there. I need me a job, bro. And don't you say it's because of my appearance. I take these things out.
Yeah, you can take the piercings out all you want. You still got
because of my
whatever the hell this is. You're still lime green. Again, and you also present yourself with a certain kind of personality. People don't want to deal with it. Presentation is everything in the workplace. As you saw, if you have long hair, I put my hair back and then I drape it over my hat just to push it up higher to make sure it's not, but it's like when I was working at Ingles. There was a kid who came in, a young black kid. He came in, his pants were sagging basically down to his ankles. He didn't come and say, "Excuse me, I was wondering if you guys were hiring, if you guys had applications." No, he comes in almost demanding or whatever. He's like, "Yo, y'all hiring?" That's not a way you present yourself when you're looking for a job. And they were just kind of looking at me to kind of just like, no, tell him, no, just tell him to look it up online. Because of the way he was presenting himself. I live in the South, so you have a lot of people going in, whether they be white or black, whatever race, it doesn't really matter. You'll see these people walking in, girls' booty shorts and really tight tops and flip-flops and everything going into interviews, and it's just very unprofessional. You want to look your best going into an interview because that's the first impression. For me, I'm looking good, very funny. It's like when I was at Bojangles, one of the questions is like, what's your favorite thing on the menu? And I said that the blueberry biscuits. And I said, because between you and me, I leaned in really because she was the hiring manager. I said, between you and me, it's like an orgasm in my mouth. And just a little humor like that, it goes a long way. Doing voices. I'm at work doing voices gets you tips. It gets you tips because some people might be coming in and they might be feeling bad, right? They're in line waiting for their subway, their sandwich, and all of a sudden, even if you haven't gotten to them, just doing something like this can brighten their day. I mean, the guys last week were fixing the soda machine, and I did that voice, and the guy, he was a young kid, like young. He looked like he was 20 something, and his eyes lit up like he was 5. I was like, "Ah, gosh, you guys are doing so good. I wouldn't be surprised if you own the business one day, huh?" And his eyes just lit up like he was a 5-year-old, hearing that voice. All it takes, sometimes it just takes a good personality. But going in looking like this, and I bet you anything, if she has interviews, she's not doing what she says. She's probably keeping most of this stuff in. Guarantee it. Because again, I worked with teenagers when I was at SeaWorld, and none of them looked like this. None of them. They all had normal colored hair, but of course this was like 2014, 2015. They all had normal colored hair. They didn't have any piercings that were really visible. They had like maybe, like the girls had like right here or whatever, but they didn't have multiple piercings. They had normal colored hair. Their bangs weren't whatever the hell this is supposed to be. It just looks like she just snip with, her own freaking scissors and like did it in the dark or something. So again, it's presentation is everything. When you go in and you look like that, or you come in and you're like, yo, y'all hiring? That sends a specific message about who you are. So like when I go into an interview, I'm very friendly. A lot of the times me and whoever's doing the interview end up casually talking. We just end up casually talking. Most times they're not supposed to really do that because they've got other people that they need to interview. We just like start casually talking. It's like I bring up, me being in the military, my stepdad being in the military, and we just back and forth. And I remember I was working at Valero, at my interview. I was there for about an hour because me and the manager were just chit-chatting back and forth. Sometimes that's all it takes. But if you kind of present yourself a certain way, it's not going to work. It's like the eyebrows. It's like, why do you need to thin your eyebrows like that? Your eyebrows are not going to be naturally like that. They're intentionally making themselves look like this. Their attitude, the world owes me something attitude. People are tired of that. Also, ain't nobody trying to hire one of the 6 paths of pain. And then I come in. The world shall know pain. What the hell is that thing? It's simple. Nobody wants a lunatic working for them. Take the metal out of your face. Stop dyeing your hair like a clown. Dress and speak nicely. You will get a job then. The hair would kill it for me as an employer, let alone the nose antenna. Sorry, but most places don't hire minotaurs. She actually is quite on the ball. She's right. I don't know about only but one of the best ways for to get a job is through a friend, and she knows and agrees she has to take the face jewelry out. Take all those piercings out of your face. Go get someone to fix your haircut. You look like you went and that's what I said. Like she just like took her hair, she cut it in the dark. No, the piggy pig. If that thing is a magnet, we could find sunken treasure. Maybe that's her plan B. All right, lower me down. Roop. And then it's like tug on the rope twice for them to pull her up. Why do people think this is attractive? Why do they always have hog rings in their noses? She should come with a pre-filled out HR form. Does she rip her hair out too? She would fit in perfectly at Starbucks. Some kind of maybe Portland type situation. Ray Charles cut your hair? Why do they make themselves hideous? This has to be a joke. Actually, let me check this chick's account.
I swear to God.
What's her name? Maybe strike a pose? I think that's a... Let me see. Maybe strike a pose. Okay. Alright, so here's her channel, or TikTok.
I took the Polaroid down in my room. I'm pretty sure.
Actually, I do think I'm better than you if you shop fast fashion. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, effort.
Ля 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 ля. Я знаю твой телефон, но не...
So we can see not only does she have the bowl, the bowl thing going on, but she's got another piercing right at the tip. Okay, but why though? Are these people just trying to make it as hard as possible to go through metal detectors? Is that their goal?
Yo, does that hurt? Does what hurt? You know, your septum. What the fuck? Ah! Yo, does that hurt? Does... Queer history is actively being erased as we speak, and you dare to come onto my page with this privileged take? Just an example, the Stonewall Memorial website has erased the term transgender along with multiple influential transgender activists, including Marsha P. Johnson. If you don't see a problem with that, block me. Seriously. Because I will not waste my time talking to someone who's okay with being uneducated. Knowledge is power, and when...
But using it wisely is key. Oh, Khadgar, you never fail us. But, yeah. When people see this, they think of a certain personality that goes along with it. Entitled, narcissistic, and they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it. The kinds of people who you hire, and then suddenly they're having mental breakdowns because someone misgendered them or used the wrong pronoun. People don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it. It's sad but true. If you're a teenager, if you want to get a job, which is the best time to get a job, you know, start building some experience in the workforce. Turn your hair a natural color. Take the fucking piercings out of your face. Let that crap heal up. And then once you've established a work career, then there you go. Again, when I'm at work, I tie my hair back. I have it hanging over my hat, so that way it doesn't really get in the way. And they don't care about this. They don't care. They said it can be a certain length, and my beard is the certain length that they said. So I'm fitting all requirements. So that, like I said, that whole, well, have you seen yourself? Yeah, it, that's not the kind of own you think it is. But it's not hard. It's really not. Like I don't know how this person actually interviews, not the appearance, but how she actually answers questions and what her responses are. But sometimes people are willing to look past that, especially if they're like, oh yeah, I'll take the stuff out while I'm at work. But that's the reason they ask you questions as well. They're trying to gauge who you are. Are you articulate when you speak? Or are you giving short answers and not giving a lot of thought? And are you speaking in a way that just doesn't sound professional? That's what they're doing. I mean, honestly, being truthful a lot of the times helps out a lot. Because they're like, oh, well, what made you interested in this job? And I said, do you want the truth, or do you want the usual ass kissing, you know, answer of, oh, I've always dreamt of. She's like, no, I want the truth. It's like, the truth is, I need a job because I like staying where I stay, and I like being able to put food in my stomach, and I like being able to, you know, pay the things that I need to pay. Sometimes they just appreciate the blunt honesty. Pretty much everyone has kind of always laughed at the whole, it's like, do you want the truth or do you want the ass kissing answer? Because again, they're adults. So, but you can kind of gauge who those because they're not only gauging you, you're kind of gauging them. You know, testing the waters about what you can say and what you can't say. That's why it's not like I just outright say it. I'm kind of sitting there talking to them, and I kind of see, like, you know what? I can say something like that, because usually we've already talked before they get to that kind of question. So that way I feel safe knowing that I could say something like, yeah, do you want the answer? Do you want a truthful answer? Or do you want the ass kiss answer? You know, that you hear so many times. And you know, when they always laugh, and like, no, I want the truth. I'm like, okay, the truth is I need a job. Simple as that. You know, it's like, I like I like having a roof over my head. And they're like, yeah, that'll do it. You know, that's a good reason to want the job. So, but it again, I worked with teenagers at SeaWorld, and none of them looked like this. None of them looked like this. These kids are making it more impossible for themselves because no one wants to deal with their attitudes, and no one wants this because, again, I've said before, when you're at your job, you're representing that company. They don't want this representing them. You know, that's why they need to find a job that will, like, I don't know, does Hot Topic still let people in like this? Or Starbucks, something like that. But most places, even fast food places, you know, they're definitely not going to have you out and working the register. Tell you that much. They're going to have you in the back where people can't see you. So if this chick went to McDonald's or whatever, she's in the back. She's in the back. No one's going to be able to see her back there. But again, it's, you go in, present yourself a certain way, and that's how people are going to see you. I've had no problem ever having conversations with my managers and whoever else, because I always present myself in a very articulated way. We have great discussions. Again, sometimes they have other interviews, but yeah, we're sitting there for 30, 45 minutes just chit-chatting. Because I come across as very approachable, and I'm funny, and I'm doing voices, and, you know, my long resume of various jobs, and they're asking me about those jobs, and that's all. But you want a job? Look the part. That's all you got to do. Or find a place that will Take ya as ye are. It's take ya as ye are. Go be a pirate. I don't know. Cosplay as a pirate. I don't know. But these are the kids who are like, oh well, we shouldn't have to wear uniforms and look a certain way for work. Yeah, who cares about standards? Who cares? It's not like you're representing a company or anything. Anyway, the world shall know pain. That's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.